Welcome to the Handlebar Stitches Flosstube.
Hi, and welcome to the Handlebar Stitcher Flosstube, episode 2. The Flosstube where I forget to introduce myself and tell you anything about myself, which we're going to try and fix this week. Also, I'm going to talk about how frequently I plan on doing these things versus the reality. So hello, my name is Justin. I am the Handlebar Stitcher, and I'm based in Australia. I'm based in the cold part of Australia, the little bottom tip called Victoria. Also home of Cottage Garden Threads, which is probably why I talk about them so much. In this episode, not a lot of stitching, but I'm going to talk about some bonus stitching things. So firstly, I'm going to show you my works in progress, because that might be why you're here. Who actually knows why you're here? So my first working project is actually a finish. So I posted on my Insta that I'd finished all the stitching and I only had back stitching left to go for this piece. And hopefully, through the power of technology, I will do a comparison between this piece before it received its back stitch and after. This piece is one of the field journal patterns entitled Kookaburra, which is a native Australian bird. And here it is in its finished state. I think it is so beautiful. I've done a fair few of these field journal conversions, and the Kookaburra is by no short means a favorite. I was saying to Katie, one of the owners of Cottage Garden Threads, how much I love that pattern. The other piece, and only other piece I have to show you, classic, is my tail end project. And here it is. So I've been working on a few secret squirrel business, can't tell you about it, designs, but you can see that most of my efforts have been kind of completing this top part of that page. And, you know, if you're keen-eyed, you might see colours that weren't on Kookaburra, though good luck understanding what they mean. That's all my stitching for this week, but I have been working on other projects. I just can't tell you about them yet, but I have made a couple of recordings with some cool new things that I can't talk about yet because I've been sworn to secrecy. The other thing I'm going to talk about are a bit about myself. So one of the questions I get asked is thread storage, everyone's favorite thing. And generally, the way my threads are stored is in one of these great plastic containers like this. And I don't know how neat it looks in this recording, but if it looks neat, that's just the magic of camera work, because it is pretty, I'd call it thread salad. Oh, it looks very neat down the bottom. So this is one of the ways I store Cottage Garden threads. This plastic tub are my working threads. So these are threads I've either used in upcoming designs, have used in past designs, or planning to use in designs. They might just be threads I have on the go or have recently added to my collection. The other thing that I use as thread storage / project bag, and it sadly won't zip up because it's so full of junk, is if you're familiar with Angela Huey and her sewing patterns for bags, this is a zip up tray bag, and I love it because when I go to an event, it just unfolds flat on a table and I can have all of my shame on display for anyone who might want to see. So in here, I obviously have a second thread salad, but I also keep, beautiful. A thread, a biscornu or pin keep with bonus carrot seed or thread. Tissues, because there's always someone with a runny nose. They're elusive, but they're in here. Scissors, they were closed, but they opened because they wanted to show off for you. Pens, eraser, random scout badge. Aha, matching the eraser, a pencil. And normally there's glasses, wipes, a needle minder, paper, but those things have crawled out of this bag and probably flopped onto the floor. The final thing I have with me when I am stitching is a project bag. So this is a nice big one. It's got my tail end project in there at the moment because that's my most consistent project. That's all about kind of how I stitch in my stitching setup. So if you see me at an event, I probably definitely have those things near me. In terms of what I like to stitch, I really like Quakers. So you would have noticed in my previous or /first video, there were a couple of Quakers as part of the patterns I had purchased. And my pattern, the Rings of Power Quaker, is kind of still in that Quaker style. So I really like Quakers. I've actually got a Quaker to share. I've lost my cool... Lost my cool book to make things less Lego lights show throughy. Although I think my book is too small or just the right size. Just too small. Gosh. You know, someone organised would have thought to test this before recording, especially someone who definitely isn't actually going to re-record this. So here I have, it's called We Love Dogs. I'm going to put the designer below, and this fabric is a 32 count. Oh, I know this. Oh no, I want to be better. Summer khaki. Summer khaki, just says Weigart fabric, but it's beautiful. I got that in the Cruel Goblin. The story with this piece is I went on a road trip to Sydney, which is approximately a 12-hour drive, and I told myself, no stitching required, you'll just enjoy the drive. Got to Sydney, went, that was wrong. I need to buy some things. So I popped to the Cruel Goblin, bought that pattern on my phone and stitched. I think I started it in hand or I bought a hoop there. I can't quite remember. All I remember is that the people there were so helpful and like they hooked me up with everything I needed, from needle to fabric. Cannot recommend the Cruel Goblin enough. I wish I could get there more, but I don't really want to drive 12 hours away. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, if you watch any of my videos or you look at my Insta, you'll see I talk about cottage garden threads a lot. I really love that thread company. It's very near and dear to me. I'm lucky enough that I live in the town where those threads are dyed, and I've been lucky enough to spend time with a lot of those women who work there. I think they're a fantastic company and it's such a warm place to walk into at all times. But we're cross stitchers. We also care about the thread. And I know when I started cross stitching, I bought the cheapest, nastiest thread because that's what I could afford. And if you look at pictures of my earliest pieces, I know last week I did that comparison between the Rings of Power Quaker and that piece I made for my dad. And I look at the fibers that I use and I go, I wish that I had invested that money into making that piece because the threads that I'm using from Cottage Garden are just so beautiful and nice to work with. The color vibrancy is bang on beautiful. And if you haven't used Cottage Garden threads, you should look it up. They are most well known for their highly variegated pieces. I know I've got Bonnie Brook here, and you can see the variation between light and dark blue is right there. But I know that something that Cottage Garden Threads have been working with a lot of different people to include tonals as well, and stitches palettes. You might have seen in their Daydream collection that they have tonals, but also still that hero thread, which gives you so many different options about how you can use those threads. And I love that. I think that's all for this week. Hopefully, I'm hoping to do these every week. I think it will require me to do some not secret stitching in addition to the normal stitching. Otherwise, all you get to see is my tail end project filled with things I can't talk about, which may be interesting. I don't know. I also hope to... I had a couple people ask me about these beautiful Lego buildings that I told myself I was going to talk about this episode, but I feel like I've been sitting here for ages listening to my poor little dog bark outside, and I need to go let him inside. Otherwise, he will never forgive me. So, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for having a watch. And I'll see you next week. A fortnight next week. My secret section, where I get to talk about things that I'm not yet allowed to talk about. First thing I'm going to talk about are some beautiful wools that I am being allowed to work with for one of my upcoming designs. They are, of course, a Cottage Garden thread. You might have seen on their Instagram them calling for wools. So I have a small selection of the full wools, while I organize them, that are being released. And these wools that I have are stunning. So I'm not going to show them all at once because my hands can't cope with that. And at this point, I don't know their names, but when this segment goes live, I'll put them below. So you can see here against my beautiful, great black background, we have a purple, a black, a green, and a navy blue. And they are even more beautiful in real life. I actually can't tell you if the colors are true at this point because I can't see the footage. And then the next selection I have here, I could arrange them some sort of color. If only I'd thought of that before I showed all 8 of them. Oh well, it is what it is. Here in this selection, there is a grey, a very pretty pink, a kind of like yellow, mellow yellow, and an orange. And as you're watching this, I'm sure the colours will be below. I look forward to designing with them and releasing a few designs. I know I have one currently being stitched up. Sadly, it's not on this table, so I can't show you. But that will probably get announced when those threads get announced. Now, you actually don't care because you won't see this. The next secret business that I'm going to show you is the Cottage Garden Cottage Core thread range, their thread collection that's just been released. So I have the thread palette here. So I've got the hero thread and then that nice purple, the blue and the green that make up those colors. I know that Katie from Cottage Garden has made a more in-depth video of each color individually. Oh, I could actually hold them up individually. They won't blur into the background. So this is Cottage. Then we have Simple Things. Bramble. I love this purple. It must have killed Pam to dye it. And we have Loved Apron. It's a really nice light blue. In the next Hero Thread palette, while I just shuffle these things around, when I went to the warehouse to collect these, the lady working there trusted me that I'd looked properly to find the Hero Thread, and I had not. We had to ring Katie, who had a day off, to help me find it. And as we were on the phone to Katie, I found it because I had a proper look. So there are all the threads in that palette. And individually, we have Pretty Ribbons. This is the thread I could not find for the life of me. There is Cozy Nook. A real, like, warm, I like peach. It's stunning. I probably did peach, maybe. Honey. Really warm, deep, like amber yellow. And then the last one, Wild Rose, a real, like, dusty red. It's really pretty. That's the end of my secret business that I can't talk about, so I'll stop this recording. Hey, it's Editing Justin. So it has been I want to say 2 weeks since I recorded the other footage, but life has been hectic as. But some things I recorded were top secret that I'm including here, but I'm going to amend that and say I've received other things that were top secret but are now not top secret, but an extension of it. So the cottage garden walls, I got the whole selection delivered to me today. I'm going to do my classic, hold them up on my great book thing here and talk about them. So I have the black wool, and there's this grey wool, and kind of like a blacky brown. That's pretty much lighter than it is in person. It's kind of it's pretty deep. Then in the colours, there's this really deep green. That is a beautiful green. And in the green family, there's like this other green. It's pretty true to colour there, but I'll hold it closer. And then this I'd call greenish kind of yellow. So it's not very true to colour there. It's looking more yellow. But it's a very greenish yellow, very pale. And then in the yellow family, there's this kind of light orange, deep yellow. And then I have a true orange, like a pumpkin burnt orange. And then just a very nice, simple yellow, very nicely variegated. And that can lead us into this nice pink. And a deeper, gosh, I don't know what to call this type of colour, like a purpley pink, violet, maybe, unsure. Then there's this very light purple, which I'd call a lavender type purple. And leading us to a red. I love this shade of red. It's nice and deep. A beautiful shade of red. Then my favourite's the blues. So there's, and this little thread has twisted itself funny. There's a deep blue. I think I showed that one in my top secret video that is now so old that it's not top secret. Or maybe it was this blue, kind of a mid-tone blue. And then the last one in the range is this very bright blue. So they're fresh in. I know that they're for sale on the Cottage Garden Threads website already. So if you follow them on Insta, you would have already seen them. Think that they're advertised on Facebook as well, but everything's available through the Cottage Garden Threads website. And I have a couple of designs that I'm going to be releasing using them once I stitch them and design them. Guess I should get onto that. The other thing is, I should say thank you to December Stitches and the ladies there, because I have an interview that they were very kind to include me on. The footage was from before then, and I intended to have that posted before the interview, but that clearly didn't happen. In other news, I will be attending the Stitching on the Border retreat on the 28th to the 1st, this coming week, I believe. Next week, whenever. And so if you're attending, I'd love to see you there. And I will be representing Cottage Garden Threads. So if you are attending and you want to buy some thread, come say hi, that will be fun. If you are attending and don't want to buy some thread, come say hi, that will also be fun. And there was another thing. Justin doesn't know how to look at a camera. So something funny about how I filmed my footage last time, looks like I keep looking to the side, and that's because of where I had my camera. So I ended up looking at myself more than I looked at the camera, because I'm a narcissist, it seems. So I'm trying to fix that right now. And if you've watched the other one and it's weird, can't really take it back, not refilming it. It's really old. I'm going to post all that content, video, whatever, today. And then I'm not going to film more this week because there's been zero cross stitch in my life, which hopefully I will talk about in my next Flosstube and show you what I've been working on instead of cross stitch. And hopefully I will also have cross stitch to show you, because I am looking at, enjoy that 5 head, this whole bag of tail ends that you can't see because of the lights behind me. But look, there it is, that I've been saving up from what I have been stitching. So I'm hoping that not only will I finish the other things that I've been stitching, but I will also get to do some cross stitch in my tail end piece and some designs and even some stitching for fun. Anyway, that is Editing Justin out. Hi, and welcome to the Hi, and welcome to the Handlebar Stitcher Flosstube. Will be a second. Hey Google, Lego on.